Deep in the heart of Africa, nestled among rolling hills and vast savannas, lay a peaceful village. The villagers lived in harmony with nature. The sun, a golden orb in the sky, nourished the land. Animals roamed freely, birds sang sweet melodies. Among these animals lived a proud hawk and a flock of cheerful chickens. They were unlikely friends. The hawk, with its sharp talons and keen eyesight, was a hunter. The chickens, plump and docile, were content with their grains. Despite their differences, they lived in harmony. They shared the same watering hole. They greeted each other with friendly nods. They believed their bond was strong, unbreakable even. Life was good. One year, the rains failed to come. The once bountiful land began to wither. The sun, once a life-giver, now beat down mercilessly. The rivers and streams dried up. The once lush vegetation turned brown and brittle. The drought affected everyone. The villagers watched helplessly as their crops failed. Their livestock grew thin and weak. Hunger gnawed at their bellies. The animals too felt the pangs of hunger. The hawk struggled to find prey. The chickens scratched at the parched earth, desperate for a single seed. Their once plump bodies grew thin and weak. The drought tested their friendship. The pangs of hunger gnawed at their bellies and fear flickered in their eyes. They knew they had to do something, anything, to survive. One day, driven by desperation, the hawk called a meeting. The chickens, their feathers ruffled and their eyes filled with worry, gathered around him. They listened intently, their hearts pounding with a mixture of hope and fear. "My friends," the hawk began, his voice hoarse, "we are facing a grave danger. If we do not find a way to help each other, we will all perish." The chickens nodded in agreement. They knew the hawk spoke the truth. The hawk proposed a pact. He would use his sharp eyes to find food. In return, the chickens would share their meager rations with him. They would work together to survive the drought. The chickens, though hesitant at first, saw the wisdom in the hawk's words. They agreed to the pact, hoping against hope that it would see them through the tough times. Section 4. Desperation and Betrayal. Days turned into weeks. The drought tightened its grip on the land. The hawk, despite his best efforts, found little to hunt. He grew weaker with each passing day. Hunger gnawed at his stomach, a constant, painful reminder of his plight. One day, the hawk spotted the chickens huddled together. They were sharing a small pile of grain, their last bit of food. The sight of the grain, meager as it was, ignited a fire in the hawk's belly. He felt a pang of hunger so intense, so primal, that it overwhelmed his senses. He swooped down from the sky, his talons outstretched. The chickens scattered in fear, their frantic clucking echoing through the dry air. But it was too late. The hawk had already snatched a chick, its life extinguished in an instant. The remaining chickens watched in horror, their eyes wide with betrayal and terror. They had trusted the hawk. They had shared their precious food with him, and in return, he had repaid their kindness with treachery. Section 5. Broken Trust. The hawk, his hunger momentarily satiated, felt a pang of guilt. He had broken his promise, he had betrayed the trust of his friends. But the guilt was quickly replaced by a more powerful emotion, survival. He had to live, even if it meant sacrificing his principles. The chickens, their hearts filled with grief and anger, vowed never to trust the hawk again. They had learned a bitter lesson that day, a lesson etched in the blood of their fallen comrade. Their friend, the hawk, had become their enemy. From that day forward, the relationship between the hawk and the chickens was forever changed. The chickens, once trusting and friendly, now viewed the hawk with fear and suspicion. They taught their young to fear the hawk, to scatter at its mere shadow. The hawk, ostracized and alone, was left to wander the skies, forever marked by his betrayal. He had chosen survival over friendship, instinct over trust, and in doing so he had condemned himself to a life of solitude. Section 6. A Lesson Learned. The story of the hawk and the chickens became a legend, passed down through generations. It served as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the importance of trust and the consequences of betrayal. It taught them that true friendship was a precious commodity, not to be taken for granted. Even today, as the sun sets over the African savanna, casting long shadows across the land, one can almost hear the frantic clucking of chickens and the mournful cry of the hawk. Their story serves as a timeless reminder that even in the harshest of times, trust and loyalty are the bonds that hold us together, and that sometimes, even the strongest of friendships can be broken by the weight of desperation.